Hello, everybody, and welcome to the very first Michael Finkley show. Y'all, I tell you, I am so excited. It has been a long time coming, and I tell you, I grew up on talk shows, Oprah Winfrey, Stella Jesse Raphael, Montel Williams, later on to Tyra Banks, and also now Tamron Hall. I love talk shows because it gives a platform for people to tell their stories and to educate, inform, and inspire. This is what I want the Michael Finkley show to do, to educate, inform, and to inspire. So thank you so much for tuning in and subscribing to our channel, The Finkley Experience. I tell you, every Monday we're going to upload new shows of the Michael Finkley show to this channel. So please make sure you subscribe and also ring that bell for notifications, and we'll send that information to your email so you know that a new video is uploaded. Thank you, thank you. Thank you, and I promise you many more shows to come. And now, so also when doing these shows, I want to shout out different people or organizations. And so today I'm wearing a shirt that is beloved to me. This shirt, this M represents Manning High School of Manning, South Carolina. I worked there as a college and career counselor for 2 years, and I met some of the most awesomest teachers, administrators, and also students that I still keep in contact with to this day. They ask me different questions. They'll text me, and some of them are in college, so they'll text me for money. But I enjoy that time there, and this is to you. Thank you so much, Manning High, for what you do for students on a daily basis, and much love from the Michael Finkley Show. And so let's get into it. Distance learning. It is the new norm for learning for our students in public schools. And a lot of teachers and parents, they're just saying, okay, this is new to this magnitude. And I understand that at times they have been doing this within their lesson plans, but to this magnitude, oh my gosh. So let me give you some stats. This is coming from the Washington Post. And these are the states that are saying, we're done. School is now gone for the rest of the year. All right. So we're looking at Indiana, Michigan, Georgia, California, Alabama, Kansas, Arizona, New Mexico, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Virginia, Vermont. These are states saying that we are done for the rest of the school year and we are going to remain with e-learning. Also, the rest of the states, they're actually keeping a close eye on the coronavirus. And so they're saying that if things get better, we will go back to school. And so these are some of the states. So Connecticut saying April 3rd, April 20th. Colorado is saying the 17th of April. Arkansas, the 17th of April. Alaska, May 1st. Idaho, May, they didn't give a particular date, but it's sometime in May. Also, Indiana, they're working with their state education department, so they're not giving out dates at this time. Again, they're just seeing what is going to happen. Kentucky, May 1, Louisiana, April 30th. Maine has stopped with classroom instruction as a whole. Minnesota, we're looking at, they're actually having distance learnings. They started on March 30th and it's going to May 4th. Mississippi, the 17th of April. Missouri, they have not given a date as of yet. Again, just still looking. Oregon, April 28th. Also here in South Carolina, April 30th, Washington State, April 27th, New Hampshire, May 4th, Ohio, May 1, South Dakota, May 1, Tennessee, April 24th, Texas, May 4th, Idaho, May 1st, West Virginia, April 30th, Wisconsin, April 24th, and Wyoming, the 17th of April. You can Google this information. This information I received from the Washington Post. Again, it updates daily. States that they're saying now that they have a date, may just say, hey, we're just not going to open. So again, please look out for those dates. Please keep in contact with teachers, administrators at this time, those persons, and just keep an eye on what Washington is saying as well when it comes to education. Again, this is all for the betterment of our students. I know this is a tough time for everybody, and everyone is doing the best that they can. So definitely, please just keep yourselves informed. Definitely keep yourselves informed. Coming up next, we are going to have Miss Leila McCoy. She's going to give an awesome explanation of what distance learning is, the history of it, and where we see ourselves right now. So don't you go away. We'll be right back. On the next Michael Finkley Show. Healthcare professionals have been essential throughout the coronavirus outbreak. We talk with nurses Toil and also Miosha Robinson on their experiences and tips to keep us safe on the next Michael Finkley. Welcome back. So again, we're talking about the topic of distance learning. Now, how is it affecting everyone during this coronavirus? Down to our students, our parents, school administrators, and teachers as well. So now we have Miss Leila McCoy with us today, and she's going to give an explanation of what distance learning is, how it transformed from what it used to be to what it is now, and how students and teachers are using this particular concept. Take it away, Leila.
Hello, my name is Leila McCoy, and I'm coming to you today because Mr. Finkley from the Finkley Experience asked me if I would define distance learning. It's a pretty broad topic, and I know a lot of parents have actually contacted me asking what exactly does this mean for my kid, and a lot of students are just saying, hey, we're going online school. And in essence, that is distance learning. Distance learning back a long time ago was predominantly done through colleges and universities, and it was for people who were far away trying to get master's degrees, and they would do distance learning, and you would literally be mailed a packet of coursework, and every week to every 2 weeks you would have to mail back to the professor, specifically at the university, your findings, and it would involve a lot of research, stuff from the textbook, putting together projects, writing theses. It was extremely extensive. Fast forward to the internet. And with the invention of the internet, all of a sudden this distance learning went from mailing materials back and forth to get graded just like a regular classroom to being able to be done digitally and online. Fast forward a little more to the availability of online classwork. I remember back in the early 2000s, they had courses where the teacher was televised and it was broadcasted into other schools, and there was a camera set up, and the teacher would teach a lesson actually in a classroom being recorded, and the students were being recorded in their separate classrooms in different schools asking questions and interacting. In 2020, we have a lot more capability that works a lot better than those resources. What we're able to do is we're able to have e-learning, we're able to have online learning, where as a teacher, I'm able to record myself, I'm able to use things like Zoom, where I'm having online class meetings where I'm sitting here being recorded just like I am right now, but my students are up here on the screen and I'm talking and interacting with them, answering questions. I could put a whiteboard right here and go that way, or I can even use a function to split my screen so my students can follow along on my screen and go through stuff with me. I can read to them out loud. I can look at their faces because they're being projected back and say, hey, Dontrell over there is not getting what's going on. Dontrell, let's talk about it. And I'm able to set up appointment times with him. And what's really cool about distance learning, I think, is the fact that we're able to record these one-on-one sessions. We're able to record group sessions, so it can be accessed at any time. So when you have a student who's working, 8 to 4 at Sonic, and they're getting home at 6 o'clock, they're saying, hey, I missed my class today, but I can pull it up in my online classroom feature and I can watch my lesson, what was going on. I can email my teacher with questions. I can post questions to my class, and I can still do my work and turn in the work. A lot of schools currently are giving teachers the authenticity to do this. We also have another side of it where you have distance learning, which is kids, a lot of students who do like virtual academies and things like that, or kids who even do course recovery type programs with Play-Doh and Edmentum, where it sets up a whole series of actual lessons for them. They watch, they interact with, and it helps assess, hey, has the child mastered this skill or have they not? And there's a teacher, a real live teacher, a real person on the other end saying, okay, this child's having trouble here. And they contact the student and say, what's going on? And help break down the module for them. And so you've got several different options, but the base premise is the same. Distance education or distance learning, e-learning, online learning, they're all fundamentally the same concept. You have a real life teacher who is trying to help real life students, but we're having to use the internet and phone or computer. We're having to use technical components to connect with each other, and so I can help teach so the child can help learn.
Thank you so much, Leela, for that information. It's very much so needed. Thank you so much, and thank you for being on our show today. When it comes to distance learning, again, it's been around for decades, but it is fairly new because of the age of technology that we're dealing with in present day. So this is why it's so brand new in that regard. And especially now, since public schools are using it to educate those as if they were in college. So we are learning this process. Everyone is learning this process now, and it's so important that we kind of have a grasp of what it is so we can really understand and work forth with it as well. So again, thank you so much, Ms. McCoy, for that information. And more to come. We'll be right back. The Finkley Experience is an education and consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. We assist parents and their students with the college process. We train school administrators, and we also partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population. To learn more about our consulting firm and to purchase our book and workbook, please visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com. Welcome back. Thank you so much for staying with us. As we are talking about the concept of distance learning and what that looks like in America today. And so now, it's been affecting everybody. So now we're talking with teachers. Teachers are, even though they have been using this concept in classrooms for so long, now they have to think outside the box. And I've seen so many different things on Facebook and on YouTube and IG of what teachers are doing to make sure that students don't miss a beat while they're out of the classroom. Next, we have Miss Natasha Richardson. She's a third grade teacher in Rock Hill, South Carolina. And she is going to now talk about her experiences and what she's been doing with her students as it comes with distance learning. Thank you, Natasha, for being on our show today.
Hey, Finkley. Thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate the opportunity to share with everyone today. Later on, you're going to have to tell them how far we go back, though. Distance learning so far has truly been a journey. It's been very interesting in the fact that it came about in a way that, nobody was expecting at the time. There had been conversation about it. And distance learning was already a part of a plan for Rock Hill schools. I teach third grade in Rock Hill schools. It was already a part of our one of our makeup days that we were originally going to have. And we were to give assignments electronically to students because students in 3rd through 12th grade each have their own personal device. So assignments were to be given there, and teachers were to have open office hours. So going from one day of being very prepared for that to now about 2.5, 3 weeks in, just kind of building the plane as we fly it is it's very interesting. It's very different. It is something that, like I said, we were not as prepared for, going from one day to about 2 weeks worth of time. One of the things that I've noticed for myself personally is not being able to interact with my kids, of course. One thing I pride myself on is the relationships that I have with my students. My students are very they are very much mine. We have definitely built a very close bond so far this year, and I hate that we are not able to continue that in person. One of the things that I am fortunate to be able to use though is Zoom, which is a site or a platform where you can video chat with your students or with other people. Doesn't matter how many, you can all come in and have conversation and use that as a way to connect with each other. The first one that we did was it was fun. I needed it for my heart's sake because I really missed my students. I also know that parents are really feeling the pressure. I think one of the positives out of this, all of the distance learning that I see so far, is that people are really and truly beginning to appreciate the fundamental basics that school offers. School offers a lot more than what people realize. It's more than just education. Students are getting social skills. Students are getting life skills. Students are being fed. Students are being protected. And now that, some of that has been taken away and it's been taken off the shoulders of schools and put back into the laps of families and parents and the community, it's really interesting to see, how they've kind of rallied to gather what these kids need and to provide those needs for them that, they've had all along, but the primary giver of those things had been school. So it really is encouraging to see that people are stepping up to that. The first round of distance learning for us, third grade, decided to do paper pencil packets. So all of our work was printed, copied, and parents were able to come and pick it up. There was nothing in the packet that was brand new. It was all information that they had already been taught, work that they could do about an hour a day independently, which had gone very well. Like I said, one of the roadblocks that we faced was, how do we get it back? How do we check it? Things like that. I'm of the faith that parents are doing the best that they can right now with their kids. I trust that my parents are doing right by their kids. If they have questions, they call me. That's another thing that I know that I'm really, thankful for, is that, they still feel like that they can call me and we can chat about work. We can chat about what's going on and still very much have an open conversation about those things too, for sure. The second time around, more work has been given electronically. I've been given work electronically this time around. Like I said, students in grades 3 through 12 in Rock Hill schools each have a device. So I've been able to go in and set assignments, and I can check this work online and write them notes back and things like that. For as far as new content is concerned, what I've done is I've used Zoom, and what I do is on Tuesdays and Thursdays, that's when I teach my official live lessons. I teach my Zoom lessons on Tuesdays and Thursdays. I record the lessons with all of their questions in it, all of my responses, all of my feedback, all of, my manipulatives or whatever it is I'm using, my stories, my read alouds. I take it and I record it. So after I've recorded it, I put it on Canvas. So with that being said, students who did not make it to the Zoom that day or weren't able to log in for whatever reason, lots of things are going on in homes right now, whatever did or didn't happen, they are always able to go back to it and watch that lesson and get that content. So that way nobody feels as if they're missing out. Everybody's still getting the same delivery of content. Parents are definitely in need of support. I've had lots of parents say, I am not a teacher, I am a nurse, I am an accountant, I am something that's not a teacher. So they are very much they're very much in the boat of appreciating what is happening with schools and what schools provide. And they are also very much appreciative, I see, of what school offers. So that's very exciting to see.
Thank you so much, Natasha, for your words and your testimonial. Here at the Michael Finkley Show, we tip our hats off to you and what you're doing with your students and making sure that they are still learning what they need to know in order to be promoted to the next grade and for standards as well. So thank you, thank you, thank you. I know it's not easy, but you're doing an awesome job. More to come. We'll be right back. Mondays on YouTube are never going to be the same. We are here to inform, educate, and inspire. The Michael Finkley Show, Mondays on YouTube. Thank you so much and welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. Now we know that, again, distance learning is affecting everyone across the nation, from teachers to parents to their children. And now we're going to talk with Michelle and Dominique. Dominique is a 11th grader, junior, a rising senior here in South Carolina, along with his mom, and they're going to talk about their challenges with the distance learning aspect during the coronavirus pandemic. Take it away, Michelle and Dominique. Thank you so much for joining us here on the Michael Finkley Show.
Hey, Mr. Finkley.
Hi, Mr. Finkley.
Thank you so much for having us on your video regarding distance learning, or e-learning as other people call it. Me and Dominic are going to kind of do a Q&A back and forth as far as some of questions that parents and students alike may have for one another. So I'm going to let Dominic ask first.
Okay, so what are some positives to distance learning that you're seeing?
Positives, I think you guys are getting a chance to figure things out on your own. You're not relying so much on people holding your hand, so to speak. I think the technology aspect of being able to see and learn at the same time is helpful. And I think it allows you to be self-motivated and have to do it on your own time and do it right and put more effort into your assignments. So with that being said, how is distance learning impacting you positively?
I guess I could say that it's not, I mean, it's a little more stressful than school, but at the same time, it's showing me that I have to put myself on a schedule. Nobody's going to do it for me. So I guess it comes down to where I am responsible. It comes down to my responsibility. And it's more of, I guess it's making me struggle in a positive way, because it's showing that I have to take accountability for my work. And even though nobody's over my shoulder, it shows that I have to still do the right thing, like I am still in the classroom. So
Very well. Very well.
what are some negatives you're seeing with distance learning?
Y'all are driving me crazy.
That's
I'm not
tough.
a teacher.
That's tough.
I think being part of the generation that saw the implementation of the internet and still not having a clue how to navigate it is the biggest stressor that I have. Your guys' generation, your siblings and other younger kids have this innate ability to just pick up a tablet or a phone or a computer and navigate around it in ways that I've never even seen. And that is a little unnerving.
Like last night, for example.
I still try to figure out Google Classroom, but it's very difficult for me to keep up with the technology as far as how everything is turned in, how assignments are completed, where to go to look if they're completed. So things along that aspect have been most challenging. And I would also have to say, I'm not a teacher. I never wanted to be a teacher. And I, can remember vividly telling my teachers as a kid, like, I could do your job, no problem. Like, I could go up there and do this. I think I'm eating those words with a lot of soap right now, and I don't like it. It tastes really bad.
Yeah.
How is it impacting you negatively?
So I have ADHD, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a learning disability. It's not like a massive one, but it's there, and I'm easily distracted because I have the attention span of a goldfish. So it's hard for me to sit down and focus, especially, and I guess it doesn't help the fact that like you kind of jump down my throat and are just like, you need to get this done, you need to get this done. I know what I need to get done, and I'm trying my best to do it, and you adding that extra stress isn't helping me at all either.
How do you think it would, how do you think that other kids who are in your kind of situation, how do you think that they need to cope with it, or how is there a way of a coping mechanism for you to get through that kind of stress and to buckle down, or is there something that you got at school that helped with that you're not getting at home?
It's at school. Okay, so when I was at school, I knew what I needed to get done. Obviously, kind of like how it is in Google Classroom. But I knew that I was in an environment with people I could communicate with while I was doing my schoolwork. So I was still getting my social time as well as getting my work done. And it also kind of helped knowing that my teacher was there, kind of watching. And there's specific guidelines that my teacher put in place in school to help, because my math teacher also has ADHD. So he implemented some guidelines for us so that way we're not as distracted.
Mm-hmm.
And being at home, I don't really have that. So
That's something to think about. I can fix that. Your turn.
how are you helping my siblings with their schoolwork?
Trying to be as creative as possible. Trying to set aside time for each of you to come to me with any questions that you may have with schoolwork or whatnot, individually, so that you guys continue to get that one-on-one time, and that you are all getting the time that you need to sit down and actually have time to learn and process the information. It's very difficult in our household, as you know. We have some other issues that can kind of throw a wrench in a thing, and I'm sure it's like that with just about everybody's household right now. You know, it's one thing or another. So adapt and overcome is routinely something that we put in place here. But I think it's important that we just keep going. We just pick up and run. How confident are you as a student now versus when you were in a classroom?
I'd have to say not as confident.
Why is that?
Because at school, it's like I said, like somebody's there always, and you and Dad kind of like, I don't know, you guys have a million one things to do based on everything that's been going on. So there's that, and you and Dad also can't help me with things that my teachers can, because they have gone through college courses to learn everything that they have to teach us. You guys didn't, so it makes it harder. So I'm not as confident as I would be in school. Okay. So do you think this is the best way for younger children to learn, like my siblings to learn?
I don't think it's entirely the way that they should learn. I think that if they're going to incorporate any kind of e-learning, that they should be able to find a way to implement hands-on learning as well to coincide with that. And I don't mean that just for the younger kids, I mean that for all of the kids. So for instance, science. Most people don't do well with, science in a classroom. It's either very great or it's very boring. It's really no in between. So as far as little kids who are more impressionable, I think that they could be doing e-learning where, they watch a video on how to make a, homemade rocket or whatever, or some kind of mechanical thing with stuff around the house, and they can watch it and the parents can watch it and they can learn together and apply it outside, you know, in their backyard especially during these times. So that they're getting a grasp of how to articulate visual learning and distance learning and traditional learning methods, and be able to combine all of those into one and really push and excel forward more than a traditional classroom setting can provide. I think there's some things that has made e-learning extremely more difficult, especially with the younger kids, because they have the Common Core math, which, as you know, we did not grow up on Common Core math. I don't know what the point of all these boxes, that's 10 times more the work than doing it the way I was taught. And I can see 100 videos on it a day and I still wouldn't get it. So e-learning as a parent who struggled in math as a kid and who struggles with keeping up with technology and keeping up with a new curriculum, those kind of subjects with math and things like that are very, very hard. And I'm afraid of how my inability to understand those concepts is going to affect the kids later.
More with Michelle and Dominique when we return. Don't you go away. On the next Michael Finkley Show. Healthcare professionals have been essential throughout the coronavirus outbreak. We talk with nurses Toil Williams and also Miosha Robinson on their experiences and tips to keep us safe on the next Michael Finkley. Welcome back. So more conversation with Michelle and Dominique.
So, how do you think distance learning is affecting younger children as a whole? Like, do you believe that this is the easiest way, the hardest way, or do you think this is just outright just controlled chaos?
I honestly don't know. I would have to say it would depend on the child and their personalities and how they learn. For instance, you know, CJ is very much a rambunctious child who loves to be with his friends, and he loves to kind of push buttons, but he's extremely smart. So I think for him not being in a classroom setting, it's not really negatively or positively impacting him one way or another, because he still has those same distractions here. He's got, you know, you and Brayton and mom and dad and, you know, his animals and his games, his TV, and his work. So when he does do his work, he does it great. He excels at it. But again, he's not having that constant hovering that he does in a traditional classroom because of all the other things that I have to take care of during the day.
No, and I understand that. And I also noticed that, like I said, that's when like the whole I'm taking away your thing comes back into play. You have to put him on a schedule. And I understand that's what you've been trying to do, like 10:15 is when our day starts. But then again, you also have to give him a break, because one thing I noticed is you like to just get it all done, and that's not the way CJ comprehends. And that's a way a lot of kids, like, that's a lot of way that a lot of kids aren't gonna sit down for 2-3 hours and get all their work done when they need that break to go run around or to go do something else to get that out of their system.
You're right. And I don't think I never really looked at it that way, because he is home. So that was probably a misunderstood, or, you know,
An overlook
on my part. Yeah.
Yeah. And again,
and then you have Brayton, who's just like, he'll sit in front of the computer and do
all of his work
for like 4 days, 5 days up, you know, the road. So I think it's, as a parent who has been put in the role of a school teacher, you were learning things about your child that you probably overlooked or didn't quite understand. And it's not a negative thing. Even if it's negative things you're learning. So you're still applying new knowledge to make things better later on. And as far as the kids having to do e-learning, there is a lot of controversy behind it. But again, it's adapt and overcome. And it's living history. It's something that we're probably, God forbid, going to see at one time or another, because, well, the world's just the way it is. And I think now that we have a basis of what went right with e-learning and what went wrong, that if there was ever a time that this had to come into play again, that there wouldn't be so many hands in the cookie jar kind of thing.
Yeah, I understand that, and considering the fact that the school district hasn't, they haven't really put out a lot on it either. Like, this was just kind of just a last minute thing, and I know for a fact none of my teachers were prepared for this, except one.
No, nobody really was prepared for any of it at all.
Oh, I mean, there were some teachers that saw it coming, so they were preparing a lesson plan ahead of time, but some didn't want to, I guess some were starting to acknowledge the fact, and then once it sunk in, it was too late.
I think as far as, I don't think e-learning as far as the older kids is too much of a negative impact, because at this point you guys are becoming young adults. This is real life. Like, these are, all these tools is what you're learning, what you'll apply in life. And the younger kids, they still don't have the mentality or that maturity level quite yet. So I think that a lot of them are struggling with this, oh, this is an extended summer break or spring break or whatever. And that's what worries me, is how is the not just the state governors, but how is the federal government as a whole going to hold these kids accountable if they were already failing all of their classes prior to the pandemic and they pass and now they're even further behind? Or what happens to the kids who, had straight A's and have to repeat a grade? Like, I think that aspect is...
Well, I know for a fact they can't just hold back a whole generation. That's not going to happen. They can't do that. There's no way that they're going to do that. But I do see where you're coming from, because I was one of those kids who was failing. I was failing ceramics. I don't understand how you can fail ceramics class.
I don't either.
I really wasn't trying. If
I
I'm
know.
being honest, I wasn't trying, not even a little bit. And, I mean, there's not really a whole lot that you're going to take away from ceramics class and apply it to the real world, honestly. But I don't know. But I know for a fact they passed. They passed everybody with like a 67 or something.
So do you think that this e-learning thing would possibly be the foundation of how curriculums are brought together as a whole, like for future generations?
What do you mean?
So what I'm saying is, like, your guys' curriculums now is pretty much based on, passing state tests, being sure that you know the minimum requirements of this, that, and the other. So with you failing like easy classes like ceramics that have really no real world value, unless of course you're going to become a professional artist, do you think that the government should take a look at the curriculum as it is now and figure out what really needs to change versus what needs to be dropped?
Okay, so I do feel like this is the best way to get that second look at everything, because not everybody's going to graduate high school saying, oh, I'm gonna be somebody who works at pottery, I'm gonna be a ceramic artist, or I'm gonna be an artist, or I'm gonna be a photographer. You know, I feel like if a high school was based off of what that child wanted to do, and they can give them courses off of that professional career, I feel like it'd be easier. So this is that way of looking at it. Obviously, I do feel like, you know, your math, your ELA, your social studies, and your sciences, your common core classes do need to be implemented there, but your elective classes should be looked at. Should be looked at again.
Okay. So basically, so am I understanding you right that like maybe basically the elective classes
Should be looked at again, because I don't know. Like I said, like I want to go to the army, so I don't understand how pottery is gonna help me with my goal. Like I don't understand that.
Okay. So, what can you learn, or I'm sorry, what can you apply from everything that's going on today through this distance learning thing? What are 3 things that you can take from this experience and apply it to not just, you know, today and tomorrow, but to your entire adult life?
Okay, so obviously one is no excuses. If it doesn't get done, it just doesn't get done. You can't really say, oh no, I was distracted. I just didn't get it done that day. That's the honest to God truth. There wasn't really any, there's no reason behind it. It's just, it didn't get done. And that's one thing that is going to spark a lot of like, well, you were goofing off, that, and third. No, it just didn't get done. And a lot of people are going to be like, that's an excuse within itself, but it's really not. Because you're coming to the reality of, I did not get it done, and I can blame it on this person, I can blame it on that, but it still didn't help the fact that it didn't get done. And that's what Colonel White told me, is just if it doesn't get done, your parents ask you what happened, just say it didn't get done. That's all that's really to it.
Yeah.
Another one is obviously adapt and overcome with the situation, because, you know, with the COVID-19 outbreak, we've been kind of had to roll with the punches with what the school district wants to do with this e-learning, and, you know, with the fact that South Carolina is basically on the verge of being shut down and everything is kind of insane. It's like socialism has started and we have a democracy. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's weird, but and then obviously another one is wash your hands. Wash your hands. No, I'm joking. But another one is definitely take responsibility for yourself, and definitely tell yourself that you need, like, you can't really tell yourself, but just you need to take responsibility for what you need to do, and you need to put yourself on a schedule. You need to take accountability for your actions. You need to take responsibility for your actions, and you need to take control of your learning, because it is your education. You need to take control of your life, because again, it is your life. Nobody is going to do your work for you. Nobody's going to guide you through your life for you. That's on you.
Good answer.
Thank you so much, Michelle and Dominique, for telling your story. I do hope that someone out there can relate to this story as well, because during this time that we're living in, we are building a stronger community in all aspects, and especially when it comes to the concept of distance learning. So thank you so much, and I hope that you all take advantage of this time in building that strong educational community. More to come. We'll be right back. The Finkley Experience is an education and consulting firm that specializes in first-generation education. We assist parents and their students with the college process. We train school administrators, and we also partner with colleges and universities to assist with their first-generation population. To learn more about our consulting firm and to purchase our book and workbook, please visit our website at thefinkleyexperience.com. Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Michael Finkley Show. As you see, we are still talking about the concept of distance learning and what that is doing to our nation as a whole. You've heard from teachers, you've heard from parents and students today. And I want to give you a prediction list of where I see distance learning will be in the future. I'm giving you 5 predictions right now, right here on the Michael Finkley Show. If they come to pass, y'all, I was right. So number 1, public school teachers will have to beef up their offering when it comes to e-learning, and this will be a concept that they will have to do on their lesson plans as well. I see that teachers will have to have backup lesson plans for e-learning for their students, especially if something like this would ever to happen again. I also see that within education programs in higher education, they're going to teach on this concept as well. So that's number 1. Number 2, we see that there may be an increase in school homeschooling. A lot of parents are saying, hey, I can't do this, but some are saying, hey, I can do this, so I feel more comfortable in my student learning with me at home. So we may see an increase in that as well. You're definitely going to see a more interest when it comes down to different conferences and professional development when it comes to e-learning. I definitely feel that when it comes to that, they just want more training on it, how that can be obliged and that kind of thing. You're going to find persons that find this concept very interesting and become experts in this field. So you may see a rise in that as well. Also, too, you may see more platforms like Zoom or Skype that are going to be developed in the future to assist with students in that regard, and parents as well. So get ready for that. And then number 5, an increase in online education when it comes to higher education. Students may grasp more to now higher education online. They're saying now, I love learning from home, and I love this concept. So you may see a rise in that as well. And don't be surprised if you see more online schools pop up as well from this pandemic. So again, those are Finkley's predictions. If they come to pass, what do you think was going to happen? What do you think is going to happen because of this pandemic? What are your predictions? Please type in the comments below, and I cannot wait to read them. More to come. We'll be right back. I know I have viewers from South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia that are watching, but where are you from? Leave comments below of your location, and I promise I will comment back. We'll be right back. Thank you so much for coming back, but can you believe that we're at the end of the very first Michael Finkley Show? Bittersweet, but I tell you, more shows to come. Thank you to all of my guests, Natasha, Leela, Dominique, and Michelle, for sharing their stories during this crisis that we're in America. We're all going to make it through, and I hope that these stories inspire you to make it another day. On the next Michael Finkley, we will have Miosha Robinson and Toil Williams. They're nurses, and they're going to talk about their experiences through the coronavirus and tips to keep us safe. Thank you so much for watching, and please, again, subscribe and like and ring that bell for notifications. We'll see you Monday. Have a good one.